Well, obviously another great challenge, another great football team, and obviously very disappointed in our performance at Alabama. Against a great team, and a lot of we created some negative opportunities and some negative situations for us, and some self-inflicted, and some because of the quality of the opponent. And I thought we played better in the second half, but we have to continue to progress and get much better. And so now another challenge of going on the road. When you think of Missouri, you think of right away defensive front, very explosive. Michael Sam is as good of a player as we faced. Great team speed on offense, on really in all three phases: offense, defense, special teams. They have depth. So again, another great challenge as we continue to move forward and progress this football program.
First, we have Jimmy Himes, the sports animal in Knoxville.
But you mentioned the team speed at Missouri. How does it compare to Alabama and Oregon, two other really fast teams that you played?
Well, I think, obviously Alabama has great team speed, and so does Oregon. And, I think Missouri, again, has great speed as well. You look at their defensive front, they're disruptive, they get off the football. Been very impressed with them in terms of understanding angles, rush angles, the way they use their hands, the way they explode out of their stances. Really good speed in the secondary. And then, that's one thing when I talk about team speed, it's not just one position. They can run across the board, and then, the quarterbacks add another dimension of being able to make plays with their legs, and then their tailbacks and their wideouts, and they possess not only very good speed, but obviously the height, which is going to be a huge disadvantage for us. So, I think across the board, and I always look at special teams, I think special teams tell you everything about the program in terms of depth, competitiveness, and speed, and they have it all.
With Justin Worley undergoing surgery, is there a chance you'll get him back before the end of the regular season?
We're being told that there is a possibility, and all is, really based on how the body heals, and so each person is different in terms of the healing process, but, we've been told it could be anywhere from 3 weeks now to 4 weeks to 5 weeks, and it's just how he progresses.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is David Morrison, the Columbia Daily Tribune.
Hey, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
With everything that's expected out of quarterbacks and offenses and all the hits that they take, I mean, do you think it's more important now to have two guys game ready on any given week?
Well, I do. I think that's the nature, of the game, especially the quarterback position, and, the amount of hits that they take. And, we always talk about, being game ready. So I do. I think, you always have to have two quarterbacks. I've always liked to have three quarterbacks ready, and you're one snap away. And I think, the biggest challenge is for the individual who's the number two quarterback, because, he gets a little bit less repetitions in practice, but he has the mindset as though he's the starter. And so I think, all the great programs, again, we get back to that depth deal that we talk about, and you always have to have 2 and 3 quarterbacks ready to go.
And I know you recruited Matty Mock coming out of high school. What do you remember about him, or what kind of player is he?
Well, I think the best thing about him is he's a coach's son. He grew up with the football. He's extremely competitive. He has great confidence, and he can make plays. Whether it's running the football or throwing the football, I think he has great instincts, and he possesses great confidence. He can make all the throws. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for him and his family.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Danny Brewer, the Rutherford Reader.
Coach, how we doing today?
Doing good, Danny. Thank you.
Talk about Dobbs for a second. Does he add a new dimension to you guys offensively, and is that good news, bad news, or no news?
Well, I think he does, and I think we saw a little bit last week where he can make plays. when the pocket collapses, he can get outside the defense and make plays with his legs, but also, he can make plays and scramble and push the ball down the field. I thought he showed, very good poise for a true freshman coming in, in that type of environment versus that type of quality of opponent in Alabama. So now we need to continue to build off that. But, we always set our offense to play to the skill set of the quarterback. But I do think he brings another element to our offense now.
Coach, you touched on it on your opening statement about the road. What's the difference in getting ready to go to somebody else's house and play versus going in your own house as far as the mentality of it all goes?
Well, I think it's all a mentality, and we talk about having great road focus, and really being a mature football team where you really block out the external factors, and you focus on yourself, and you have to be locked in, and you can't let the crowds, you can't let the clutter and distraction creep into place. And it's a mindset. And, so that's the next phase of this football team and this football program is we have to learn, what it takes to play on the road, go to the hostile environments. And, when you go on the road, you're responsible for creating your own momentum. You're responsible for creating your own opportunities because you don't have a crowd behind you. And again, and it's your football family, your football program against everyone. And that's kind of the mindset. So your mental focus and, it starts just like any home game. The preparation starts on Sunday, and it's a building up process all the way to game day.
Coach, appreciate it. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Next is Dave Matt of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Hey, Butch, what's your impression of Missouri's big receivers and what kind of matchup problems do they pose against your team or any team, really?
Well, very, very impressed with their receiving core. And, they pose a ton of matchup problems and issues for you. And, when you look at it, first of all, they have depth. But 6'5", 6'6", 6'2", 6'4", and the other individuals behind them are pretty much same in stature. But a lot of times you say, okay, you're going to give something up in terms of the size, of a wideout. They haven't done that. They can run. They're extremely loose. They have the ability to run after the catch, and they can go up and they can high point the ball and play the ball at its highest point. So we know, this week in terms of that out on the perimeter is going to be a tremendous, tremendous challenge for us.